Hello everybody, I'm Catriona Morten, I'm a sensory-motor psychotherapist, and today I'd like to talk to you about why we get affected by things that we witness or things that we hear, that we're told. But before I get into that, if you're enjoying these videos, then give us a like, subscribe to our channel, because it really helps us get out there and speak to lots more of you. There's a technical name for the way that we're affected by things that we witness and things that we are told. And it's called, when I was trained to be a therapist, it was always described as vicarious traumatization, which is a bit of a mouthful. It means being traumatized or potentially traumatized or affected by something that you're hearing, something that somebody's telling you. In sensory-motor, we talk a lot about mirror neurons, and I always find the best way to describe it is if you're watching a film on the television and somebody gets a really horrible smack in the face, everybody that's watching it goes, ooh, even though most of us won't have a clue what it feels like to get a punch in the face. Our mirror neurons know we're connected with that, and it resonates as not a lived experience, but an experience of that thing. Because we have amazing, vivid imaginations that allow us to visualize things, to see things, to imagine all sorts of things. You know, we're incredibly creative. And it can have a positive aspect to it and a negative aspect to it. The negative aspect is when we are told something. Now, this doesn't happen to everybody, because there are people out there that actually don't visualize anything. That it's something that their brain doesn't do. They see things, they remember things differently. But for a lot of people, if somebody tells us something, we have a visual image of it. And for not just therapists, but for anybody witnessing something or imagining the thing that you're being told, it's like, you know, we might go, oh my God, or oh, but we'll have that image. And sometimes those things, they can be very hard to shift. We can actually be traumatized by things that we witness. We don't have to have been part of it for it to have really imprinted and burned into our amygdala, our brain. Our nervous system goes off, that it makes us feel really overwhelmed, frightened, disgusted, whatever it is. And sometimes we need a bit of help to process that. You know, it's why therapists need really good supervision and often their own therapy to make sure that none of those things are kind of building up an accumulative effect, or there are potentially things that can trigger us if somebody, you know, else shares something. We want to be able to be as regulated and okay and open as possible when we're with clients. There's also a real positive aspect of it. And in the same way that we're affected by things and we have these images of things in our head, we can also use it for positives, to have positive images in our head. Because exactly the same thing happens. We visualize something, we see things, we have an image of it, we can conjure it up for ourselves, and we actually have a lived experience of it. It impacts, it goes in, which is why often when in EMDR we can do positive installations, visualize something that's maybe a really safe place or something that you really enjoy or feel really safe and connected to, and being aware of how your body tells you that that's a good thing. When we are looking to make some changes or to try and overcome something that we're really struggling with, instead of just always trying to throw ourselves in battle, 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 it can be a really good exercise to say, okay, what would that thing look like? What would the first step of that be like? You know, just the same if you're going to run a marathon, you wouldn't just get up, stick your shoes on and expect to run God knows how many miles. You'd have to build it up in stages. What would be the first stage? What would that look like? Can you visualize that? You know, if you suffer from terrible agoraphobia, what's it like to just open the front door? Can you visualize yourself opening the front door? What do you see? What would you like to see? What do you actually see? Because if you can't visualize it, then that's a really good clue to it's going to be extremely difficult to make yourself do that. And, you know, we can really build on and work on these visualizations. We can just have a little piece of it if it's too big to all put together at once. What's possible? Because building up those visualizations are really going to set your mirror neurons on a very different path. And when we imagine it, then it's a massive step towards being able to actually do it. So it's a very good thing to practice. I remember going to a couple of talks by this amazing therapist he was British but he lived in Australia, Brian Cade, and he was a family therapist, and he used to do a lot of magical thinking with his clients. And what he would say to them is, if you were to wake up tomorrow morning and everything that was wrong in your life was sorted, was right, what's the first thing you would notice when you opened your eyes? How would your day look differently? That can be a big thing to try and visualize, but it's a really good concept to just even contemplate. You know, I want to be better. What would that look like? How would it be? What would it feel like? What would it be walking through that day of your life that everything is okay? What would it look like? How would it feel? What would be different? It can be a really good exercise, one to kind of, you know, hone your imagining skills and your visualization skills, but really to stop and question, what is it that I'm looking for? How would I know it if I came across it? Because we can get into, you know, real patterns of negativity and everything being, you know, really dreadful, and it can make us feel like we're never going to get out of it. And visualization in that way, sparking off those mirror neurons, noticing what does that feel like? How can you help yourself kind of embrace that, make that a good thing to be visualizing? It can be very, very revealing. And I just think it's a really good, quite safe way to think about taking a first step towards something, contemplating difference and change. And I think, you know, it's something that would benefit us all if we did it a little bit more, me included. So I hope that's given you some food for thought, some ideas, some things to try if you want to. And again, if you're enjoying these videos, then please give us a like and subscribe to our channel because it really helps us. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.